guys, I'm Heather Anderson from Kaleidoscope Cosmetics. I know I had a few people ask if I sell my foundation, so I wanted to do this video kind of show you the foundation that I make and how I like to use it. So this is the foundation I make. It's just in a reused mineral makeup little jar. So yeah, I'm just going to show you. I have done a few videos on how I do my foundation, but this is the most recent way I do my foundation. I do it a few different ways, so if you want to see the other videos, be sure to check those out. I have a light coverage one, which is basically just concealer. So if you want like an everyday really light look, if you only have a few spots and the rest of your skin is really clear and even, that's a really helpful video. I basically just show you how to use my concealer and my foundation just on any spots you have. I also have another video which is about how to use mineral makeup with a kabuki brush, which is a very common way to use it, using it dry. This way I kind of came up with myself. I'm sure there's other people that do this same way, but I haven't seen a video, so I thought it'd be helpful for those of you out there that want medium to full coverage and to use your mineral makeup wet. So a lot of people don't really use their mineral makeup wet. Most people use it with a brush. So I'm actually going to show you how to use a beauty blending sponge with your mineral makeup and using it wet. The reason why I prefer this is you can, blend it out really well. It looks more natural. It's not a powdery finish. It's more of like a satin type finish. It looks more like you're wearing liquid foundation instead of powdery caked on makeup. And like I said, you can build the coverage so it can start off really sheer. If you want it to be really sheer, get your damp or your brush, or you can use a brush if you prefer, but I like this sponge. It just looks really like airbrushed almost. So use your sponge super damp. Only use a teeny bit of foundation if you want it really sheer. You can do this with liquid foundation as well, but I'm using powdered foundation because I don't see a lot of tutorials on that. And if you want more coverage, just get your sponge more dry or a little damp, and then just use more foundation and keep building up layers. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I created this like flawless foundation look. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm just having my eye makeup done, and then I'm just going to show you with no makeup on and just go ahead and do my full foundation. Okay guys, so I already did my eye makeup, as you can tell, but I don't have any makeup on my actual face. I just have a little lip balm on and my eye makeup. So I'm going to show you what I've been doing almost every day. So I have a few ways of doing my makeup. I have the like full coverage with a brush, and then I have the light coverage one, which basically I just do concealer. And then this is also another full coverage way, or medium coverage, depending on how you do it. But I just really like this way over the brush. I know a lot of people with mineral makeup like to use just a kind of brush, a kabuki brush like this, or I have another one. But I actually prefer using a sponge. You can really, like, depending on what kind of makeup you use, you can create like medium coverage. You could do sheer. It's a little bit harder to do sheer coverage with this. If you want a really sheer look, check out my concealer video, because I basically just cover up any spots I have and don't put foundation on. But if you want something like medium or full coverage, this video is really helpful, because you don't want it to look powdery. And if you use a sponge like this to apply it wet, it actually doesn't look powdery at all. And it's full coverage, but it looks more natural. So if you wanted to watch my video on how to apply it with a brush, be sure to check that video out. I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so starting off, make sure your face is all washed. And you apply moisturizer and let it soak in for like 20 minutes or 10 minutes at least. And then all you need is some kind of a sponge. These are one of those beauty blender type sponges. And I just soak it in water, or not soak it, just run it under the faucet. Make sure I clean it really well. And then I make sure it's kind of saturated and damp, because it just makes a more natural finish. And then just get your foundation. Any mineral foundation will work, but I'm actually using the stuff I make. So I made this video because I know a few of you guys were interested in buying some of my foundation, so I kind of wanted to show you how it works as well. In my other videos, I'm using my foundation as well. So I have my foundation, and I just pour it in the top lid right here. And then all you're gonna do is get your damp sponge. And let me get my hair out of the way. As you can see, my skin's not horrible. It's getting a lot better because I've been doing a few different things, but I do have some spots right here, and I do have kind of redness around the bottom of my face, so I like to do this for full coverage. So you just get your foundation in the top of your lid and get your sponge, the bottom end, and you just kind of tap it in there. Now this is going to be full coverage, like I said. You just put less foundation if you want it to be lighter, or you could blow it off or like tap it, just gently tap it, and it kind of distributes it a little bit more, but you are going to have to blend it pretty well because you can see that's a lot of foundation just sitting there. So I like to start in the center of my face and work my way out, or the top of my face and work my way down. So I'll just start in the center of my face. As you can see, it's like if you left it on, it would be very full coverage. So you're just gonna have to blend it out to the coverage you want. It almost makes it into like a cream foundation or a liquid foundation when you use a wet brush or a wet sponge. So I just kind of start at my nose and then work my way out. And this is nice because when you're using it wet, it kind of works as a concealer because it's a lot thicker. And you just kind of smudge it, like I just kind of smear it around, and then I just kind of go back and tap. Okay, so I'm just gonna get a little bit more. Just tap it in there. There's the foundation. And then I'm gonna do my forehead. And I just kind of do circular motions, just almost like you're using a brush. And then I kind of blend it. And the nice thing about this is I do a full like layer all over my face, and then I can always go back and add concealer if I need like more coverage. Because my sponge is wet, my face is looking a little shiny, but that's just the water and it's gonna like evaporate, so don't worry. It looks a little shiny. If you're concerned about that, you can go back and put a little finishing powder on it. But I kind of like the dewy look. It's more of a natural look. Because I know a lot of times people with mineral makeup, they're like, it's more of a powdery look, and I prefer like more of a liquid. I'm more of a liquid foundation. So this is nice because it gives it more of a liquid foundation, dewy look, not a matte, not a super matte finish, more of a sheer finish. Okay, so I'm just about done. Okay, so you don't want to, if you still see spots, like I still have spots right here and right here, you can kind of see, you don't want to go back and just keep adding foundation until that's all covered. You just want to go to those spots and cover it, because the more foundation you're putting on your face, the more unnatural it's going to look, and it's nice to kind of have a little bit of skin showing through. So don't worry about getting all of your face covered in foundation. Just go back now, after you did a thin layer and evened out your skin tone, just go back and get the spots now. Okay, so I'm using actually the same exact foundation. I'm not going to even use a concealer, just to show you. I do have concealers, but I'm just going to show you how to use your foundation as a concealer. So now, I just put it in the lid right here. I'm going to get a foundation brush. Let's see, where is that? Here it is. So just get a foundation brush, something like that. You can use an eyeshadow brush as a foundation brush. And just spray it with some mixing medium so it's wet and damp. Getting it wet is just going to make it more intense. And I'm going to do my under eyes first. So just get a little bit. You can mix it on your hand if you're concerned that it's going to like not mix well on your face. For me, I have like dark circles and bags under my eyes just naturally. But with powder foundation, sometimes if you go up to like the bags, it makes it look creasy and like wrinkly and not good. So what I do is I actually just apply the foundation right here, not right under my eye. And I find it works really well. So I just kind of brush it on and then kind of blend with my finger. Okay, now, again, make sure your brush is damp, and I'm just gonna get the redness around the corners of my nose. And underneath my nose. Okay, so now I'm going back and getting any like red spots, blemishes. So again, you can just use a wet brush or a dry brush. Just get a little foundation on it and just tap it on like that and blend it out with your finger. And if you feel like it's not covered enough, you can always go back and keep going back till it's covered. And if you have, like, I have red spots, like right here I have redness, right here I have redness, and they're not really blemishes, it's just like redness. So I actually use a fluffy brush like this, tap it in a little bit of my foundation, and then I just kind of tap it on and kind of just blend, not all over my face. This is good for like your T-zone if you don't want oil. It's just nice to like kind of blend it out and just make sure that redness is not still there. And that just sets, using that dry powder just sets everything. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful. I hope that kind of gave you some different ways to think about using your mineral makeup. And be sure to check out Kaleidoscope Cosmetics.